welcome to the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world show made for the fans by F.A.N. I am your host as always, Richard Tiemann, and this is the award-winning F.A.N. Show. That's right, everyone is a fan of something, and we have got something for every fan, unless you're a fan of Fozzie, because he is here and then he's gone again. We're all fans of Fozzie. We love him, don't we? So Fozzie was here, and he is gone. He stays for about the intro, and then he's like, peace out. So it's, he's got to go on his journey, on his path. But it is Thursday. It's good to be back. The night off is kind of nice. A little bit. I mean, it's not technically a whole night off because obviously I did the robotics division special last night, number 2, as we get ready for episode 2 of Battlebots season number 5. So very excited about that. And there was a lot that happened this week. There's a lot that is about to happen this weekend, and we are going to talk all about it. So I hope that you're ready because we have got a lot to cover. And, of course, I will be checking in periodically with the Facebook Live and everything going on. I've got your guys' questions, comments, answers, concerns, life's mysteries, any answers to life's great mysteries that you may have. Maybe the two of you can link up. If you have the mysteries of life and then the answers to the mysteries of life, then you guys can link up. But, no, it was good. Tuesday was a great episode. We had our outstanding players of the week, special teams, offense, defense, and then Wednesday we had our robotics special as well as another edition of the Fan Show Top 10, and you guys seem to have liked that pretty well. So let's go ahead then and do what we do on the Fan Show, and that's get right to it with today's headlines. And headlines, of course, brought to you by Dynamite Enterprises, where they want to customize your world, folks. So they really do. They can make you a lot of really awesome stuff. They can do t-shirts, hats, beanies, polos. They could probably do socks if you asked them to. So a lot of apparel stuff, but the non-apparel things that they can do. I have a big 10-foot backdrop that they've made me. Lovely tablecloth and runner. You guys can get banners done. I've seen them. Trophies, plaques. What else do they do so many things. I really need to have a list of all the things that they do so I can just run down it and see how long it would take me to get through everything that Dynamite Enterprises can do for you. But that's the thing, even if it's not on the list, though, they could still probably see about getting it done for you. So if there's something you have in mind as far as if it's a shirt, if it's an award, if it's a plaque, if it's a trophy, if it's something for marketing or promotional or other, they can do it. And you got to visit dynamiteenterprises.com. They've got a full-fledged catalog on there. And if there's something that you want done that you don't see on there, then you just need to hit up Ethan at dynamiteenterprises.com. Be like, hey, can you do this? We'll give it a shot. Okay. So, Dynamite Enterprises, customize your world. Headlines is that we have crowned a new champion of the world of hockey. That's right, National Hockey League crowned its champion last night, Game 7. So we're going to open up this with a question for all of you hockey fans out there because it's a sport I've wanted to get more into, but it's tough because it overlaps with a lot of things that I do. And then, of course, it's one of those things where I don't like to talk about things that I don't have a wealth of knowledge of. So I don't know everything that there is to know about the game of football. And, of course, it's almost impossible to because the rules change every year, or some rules change every year. But when it comes to hockey, like I don't even have the basics down, really. I know that the puck goes into the net. That's a goal. There are 3 periods, not 4 quarters. And is it 5-on-5? I don't even know hockey, how many personnel are out there. I know there's a goalie. All of my hockey knowledge, let's put it this way, comes from the Mighty Ducks franchise. Sorry, not sorry. I'm a 90s kid. But I will open with this question for you watching on Facebook Live. I believe, and I'm going to check, that the Blues won Game 5. And I believe that would have been the third because it went back and forth. That would have been the third game, and that would have been a best of 5. And so they won last night. That's right. The St. Louis Blues are champions of the hockey world. They are the Stanley Cup champions, and they did it. It went all 7 games. So we've been talking about this the last couple of weeks, and I've gotten a few answers back, but I really want to know, you guys. Baseball, I understand because of the pitching rotation. I get that. I will not argue. Baseball, World Series, 7 games, fine. Not going to touch it. But basketball, we have game 6 tonight. If it was the best of 5, Toronto would have already won. And if it was the best of 5 for hockey, I believe St. Louis would have won that one too. But I'll have to double check. Either way, why, do you like 7 games, and why do you like 7 games instead of 5? Why do you feel there needs to be a best of 7 instead of a best of 5? What do you get with 2 more games that you don't with those first 5? It just seems like it's another chance to sell tickets and merchandise and obviously ad campaigns and TV deals for the sport. But as a fan of the sport itself, the game, 3 periods or 4 quarters or whatever it is, NBA, NHL, why do you need 7? Why can't it be best of 5? What do you get from having 2 more games that you didn't from having 2 fewer games? So we will open with that. Hey, KC. Hey, Adam. Let's see. Adam is 5-on-5 with a goalie on each side. So is that technically 6-on-6 then? I mean, the goalie obviously doesn't advance out of the goalie box, but he is part of the on ice personnel. So I believe that would be 6-on-6. Matt says more money for the owners. So yeah, again, barring the obvious, I don't know if there's anything that you get out of 7 games that you wouldn't with 5 when it comes to the games of hockey and basketball. Now, of course, I'm a novice with these 2 games, and I watch, I will follow and I will watch when I have the opportunity. I did watch Game 7 last night of the NHL Stanley Cup Finals because I'm technically a Golden Knights and Blues fan. When it came to me picking my team for hockey, this was before the Golden Knights were a team, so I picked the Blues because I absolutely loved their logo. I thought they had the best logo in sports, and as a musician, I'm a little biased in that. But the Golden Knights I also picked because that's the beauty of an expansion team, is it not? You can jump on with them and not be a bandwagon because the team has never played before. And they did very well last season. They're not so good this season, but they did very, very well last season. They went all the way to the Stanley Cup Finals. So, hey, I'm like, in my hockey fandom, I'm like 2 for 2. One went to the finals and lost, and the other went to the finals and won. So how about that? I want to get back into being a passionate fan about one single team like I am with the 49ers. I don't know if that'll ever happen again. I do get fan crazy for certain IFL teams when they get successful, like Green Bay is doing really well right now, and of course seeing Quad Cities up close and Iowa with its success last season. And I do feel like the fan in me kind of creeps out for that, as unbiased and neutral as I try to be. You guys know, as fans that watch whatever preferred network or sports news media outlet that you do, that they say they're unbiased, but they really are. I mean, what happens when Sunday Night Football, Al Davis and Chris Collinsworth are covering a Cincinnati Bengals game? Oh, Chris Collins is my Bengals. Here's a guy playing for my Bengals, and they still suck. Now, here's a guy who's playing for the Bengals, and he maybe doesn't suck quite as much as the other guy, but nonetheless, here's a guy. That's Collinsworth. So they're biased, okay, deep down inside. What I do love, though, is when an analyst or a member of sports media doesn't hide it, doesn't shy away from it. And that moment was Mike Ditka on Monday Night Countdown. They were all going through doing their pick'em, and I believe they were playing the Green Bay Packers. This was a few years back. They were playing Green Bay Monday night, and Ditka, against everyone else, says, "My Bears. I'm picking the Bears tonight." And the Bears won. And it was this thing that went through social media so fast. It was like, Ditka, because he doesn't shy away from it, man. He knows where he came from. And that's what I love about guys like him. So, yes, 7 games as opposed to 5. Let's see here. Adam says, yes, 6-on-6 technically then. Matt says they can pull the goalie for an extra attacker. Seattle is currently pushing for NHL. Yes, they are. I don't know if I'll be a fan of Seattle's hockey team. I don't know. I mean, obviously, it's going to be the closest hockey team to me as far as proximity wise. But the reality is that you pick your teams however you pick your teams. Like, there's a whole story in my childhood history of growing up as to why I'm a 49ers fan, and a lot of you know that story. And that is never going to change. The meaning there, the fandom runs deep. And so maybe I need to find teams that have a little bit deeper meaning for me in order to really fan out for them. Because for the Blues, I just like their logo, but now they're Stanley Cup champions. I didn't get to have that great feeling of achievement and accomplishment like I do with the Niners when they make the playoffs or go to the Super Bowl, because I didn't really follow their season. But I'm still proud that the Blues won, because they don't win a lot. And they went from worst to first this season. Congrats, guys. Congrats. And the Golden Knights, obviously. So, yeah, I want to find teams that I can really latch onto and get really passionate about again, because I feel like I'm missing that. Especially, the more the NFL goes down the road that it's going, where it's more about entertainment and less about the actual game. So that's tough for me. I'm not saying I'd ever would abandon my Niners, but the NFL as a whole, is becoming less and less interesting. I was very excited about the AAF, which there's an article out. Adam has shared that with me. I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but there's apparently some really good stuff in there. And then the XFL coming up, which next weekend I get to go to Seattle as media to check out their Seattle XFL showcase. So that should be a lot of fun. So I'm trying to get excited about new things because, everybody's on a level playing field at that point. Everybody's equal. Everybody's Swiss. Let's see. Yes, Coach Ditka. Bradshaw usually picks Pittsburgh. That he does. He does. He doesn't shy away from it either, and that's what I love about Terry Bradshaw. Let's see. Who else has chimed in here? Yes, it is episode 420 today. And no, there will not be any 420 going on. I've got Gatorade, not Mary Jane. It's legal here. I feel like that would be a really weird episode of the Fan Show. Me smoking a bowl or something live. That would be really, really weird. I would get away with it here, but I mean, in every state that this is being watched in, it may not be legal. And I hate that. I really do. I'll be 100% honest. At what point, how many states does it have to be legal in before it's just okay, right? Because there's a lot of, it's legal here, but yet they still drug test for it because so many jobs are federally mandated and blah, 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 whatever. I don't care. You just, smoke them if you got them. There you go. Let's see. Adam says the answer to everything is 42. That's right. If you're going to stick the thumb out and hitchhike to the galaxy, the answer is most definitely 42. Matt says some sports commentators sound like they're on pot. Yes, they do. Cowherd, I think. Cowherd doesn't sound like he's smoking a lot of pot. He just sounds like an arrogant prick. And he's never wrong. Even when he's wrong, he's still never wrong. Skip Bayless sounds like he smokes pot. He does. And so do a few others. So yeah, Matt, I will fully agree with you on that. Okay, so here, into the meat of it while we continue to discuss 5 or 7 games. Which one do you want? There's a cat at my legs. Go away. That's what the squirt gun's for. Bye-bye. Anyway. It wasn't Fozzie. Okay. Everybody would have been like, you ran off Fozzie. Fozzie's a good kitty when he wants to be, but there were some things disturbed on my desk, so the Deadpool scarecrow may not be working anymore. We'll see. Anyway, so yes, 5 games or 7. Who wins game 6 tonight? Toronto or Golden State? It is back in the Oracle, the last ever game at Oracle Arena. And I think it'll be Toronto. That's just my pick. Golden State won one game, and now they've won another, and they had KD for like half of it. But it was a 1-point victory, and Toronto won the first one. They lost at home, yeah, but to go to Golden State's house and beat them 2 games in a row and then bring it back. I mean, this could go all 7, but if it was only 5, Toronto would be the champions right now. And if they end up winning in 7, or tonight, if they end up winning, what did you learn from 6 and 7 games that you didn't from 5, other than the fact that KD probably shouldn't have played? If it would have been 5, KD would not have re-injured his leg, NBA fans. So I'm just saying, maybe the petition for 5 games for finals that are not baseball should be a thing, and you guys should sign it. So the big weekend, of course, is for the IFL. It is the last week of the regular season for Indoor Football League football. And we will talk about that in a moment. But first, we have the AFL matchups, which I know that you guys, some of you follow along. And so this weekend, we have 2 games on Saturday, 1 on Sunday. And so Albany at Washington, so the Empire versus the Valor. Baltimore at Columbus, so the Brigade at the Destroyers. And then Atlantic City at Philadelphia, so the Blackjacks at the Soul. And that is Sunday at 4 p.m., probably 1 p.m. Pacific time. And then Saturday, the first game is Baltimore and Columbus, and that is at 3:30 p.m. Eastern, so noon 30 Pacific. And finally, and then the second game Saturday is Albany at Washington. That is 7 p.m. Eastern for Pacific. And in the National Arena League, we've got a few matchups. Saturday, we have the Sharks and the Cobras, this time in Carolina. That should be a good one. That's Saturday at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. And then we also have the Pirates and the Predators, and that is 4:30. So 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. And right now, the standings as they are, Jacksonville holding on to the number 1 spot, 6-1. One loss for the Sharks as they will go to Carolina in the Snake Pit to take on the 5-2 Cobras. So obviously a win for Carolina could mean a shift in the standings, and a win for Jacksonville could create a little bit of distance between them and number 2 Carolina. The Streets are at 3-3, Pirates 3-4, Lions 2-5, Predators 2-6. So for Orlando, for them to host the Pirates, obviously a win would be pretty good. That could probably catapult them up to about 4th place there. But New York at 3-3 has a pretty good spot, pretty good hold on that number 3 spot. Let's see here. Hey, Casey, good to see you. I believe I already said that. Let's see. Matt says 7 is more of a grind. You could get lucky with 5. Okay, so I will agree with you on that. That maybe there's more strategy that goes into playing 7 games in a series as opposed to 5. But again, I said that sounds like baseball with the pitching rotation, because baseball is very much the chess match of the world of sports, right? It is chess, not checkers. Football is checkers, basketball is checkers, hockey is checkers, and they can be coached and played like chess, but the actual pace of the game is checkers. Baseball is the only one where the pace of the game and the strategy behind it are both chess. Football can be strategically played like chess, but the action is checkers, man, all day. Hockey, checkers, and basketball, most definitely checkers. So I'm curious then, hockey and basketball fans, how much strategy would go into a 7-game series as opposed to a 5? What do you get with those extra 2 as far as the prepping, the planning? I feel like luck might be the wrong word for that. I do understand where you're coming from, Matt. I really do. Don't get me wrong. Adam says, going to go with the crazy prediction that Bismarck will upset Sioux Falls. Damn it, Adam, we're not there yet. We are not at that portion of the program yet. You need to wait your turn. You need to calm down, dial it back. We're talking about hockey and NBA right now. Adam says, also, Boston wouldn't be able to celebrate the Stanley Cup anyways since Godzilla and Ghidorah wrecked Boston. Damn it, Adam. I love when Adam chimes in, but sometimes he makes me laugh and it gets me off topic. He says South Dakota will never legalize it. We're stuck in the 50s. Yeah, I'd say that's probably true. And he doesn't mind 7 games in the playoffs. He just wished the season was shorter. Okay, so you guys, I think that might be the common problem with a lot of fans is that you guys have such a long playoff or such a long postseason that the regular season, it seems very trying on you mentally, emotionally. And let's see here. Hey, Antonio. Good to see you. He says, Adam, I just tune in and see this Bismarck prediction and about to spit out my dinner. Hey, Steve Weed is watching. If you guys haven't seen Steve Weed's video from AFE, American Football Events, which you might recognize some of the faces in there at the beginning, middle, and end, you should. It's a really great production. So, yes, I think that there could be the argument that there's more strategy that you can put into 7 games than 5. But really, I just don't know how much more strategy. Like, are you holding back? Like, game 1, are you just like, well, if we win, we win, and we're 1-0 on the series. But if we lose, we've still got, 3 more to get it right before we're eliminated. Like, does that change if it's only 5? Where losing that first game, that could put you into panic mode. Because if the opposing team wins 2 more, you're done. Like, I almost feel like we'd get more effort, like more sense of urgency if it was a 5-game series as opposed to 7, because I feel like maybe some of these teams are just like, you know what, we're just going to chill these first couple of games, and then we'll really put it out there on the court or on the ice for these next ones, so that because we've got 7, so we want to use all 7 of those games. It's just, that's funny to me, but you guys are making some good conversation here. Coming up, we will have my conversation with Brian Spiller of the Wolfpack, and that'll be a lot of fun. Great guy to talk to him. He's a seasoned vet for the Spokane Wolfpack who play this weekend, which we'll also talk about. So here we go. Adam, now is your time. It is IFL finale. Well, I shouldn't say. It's the regular season finale for the Indoor Football League 2019, and we have all 5 games on Saturday. I repeat, all 5 of your final regular season 2019 IFL games happen Saturday, June 15th. And they are all an hour apart at most. 5 minutes for most and an hour for some. And of course, the matinee, if you will, the main event, is an hour later kickoff than the rest. So first up, we have San Diego visiting Arizona. Arizona has already pretty much decided its full postseason fate. They will get a first-round bye. They will host a playoff game. The only thing left in this is if they win, they finish out the regular season undefeated. And if they win, then should they make it to the United Bowl, it will be played in Arizona. If they lose, though, there's a few things that could change. We'll talk about that here in a moment. So that game is at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, or 7 Central for you Midwesterners. And then we also have the Bismarck Bucks at the Sioux Falls Storm. Not much left to be decided here for the Storm. They're the only team with really any skin in it. And as Adam says, he's predicting a Bismarck upset. Sioux Falls very well could rest all their starters because it was last week's game that meant the most in regards to the postseason. So this time it might just be if they're healthy, play them, and you put yourself into the postseason knowing that you will play that first round. You will not receive a first round bye. However, whichever team is the 6th seed will be coming to your house. And then we also, and that game is at 8:05 Eastern, 5:05 Pacific, 7:05 Central. Then we have Cedar Rapids River Kings visiting Green Bay. Green Bay not only punched their ticket 2 weeks ago, but now they will host their first playoff game since 2012, and that was a result of last week's victory over Cedar Rapids. So not much left for them as far as what's to be decided for the postseason. They will host, and they will host one of the other teams that is trying to get in to the playoffs with those last 2 spots, which brings us to the next game, which this one, again, 8:05 Eastern, 5:05 Pacific, 7:05 Central. That is the Nebraska Danger and the Iowa Barnstormers. Now, this one is a big game, but not as big as the last one that we'll talk about in a second, because this one, even if Nebraska loses, they're still more than likely in the playoffs, as Adam explained to me, and I did my own personal research. So basically, if they win, they're in. Okay, done and done. But if they lose, they need, obviously, I think it is Tucson to lose, and then they are in. Quad City losing, I believe that would result in Quad City by default getting into the playoff instead of Nebraska. So Nebraska either needs to win or Tucson to lose. If they win, obviously, then they don't have to worry about anything. And that would put them at the 5 seed. And Iowa, of course, if they win and the Rattlers should lose, then that tiebreaker, the only thing it matters for is who would host the United Bowl should both teams advance there. If Iowa wins, they might have that tiebreaker over Arizona, and the United Bowl would be played again at the Wells Fargo Arena in Des Moines, Iowa. So big game for those two. A few implications in there for them. And then we have finally that game again, 8:05 Eastern, 5:05 Pacific, 7:05 Central. And then finally at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific, 8 Central is the Quad City Steamwheelers on the road with the Tucson Sugar Skulls. And this is probably the biggest game of the weekend because it's win and you're in for these two teams. If Quad City wins, they are in, and that would eliminate Tucson. Nebraska would get in. So you'd see Quad City and Nebraska into the postseason. If Tucson wins, then they would be in, and if Nebraska wins or loses, then if Nebraska wins, then they'd be in with Nebraska, and if Nebraska loses, they'd be in with Quad City. And I'll have to double check to make sure that that is correct, but that was my understanding of it based on what Adam told me. So your guys' thoughts, your predictions for this weekend as we close out the regular season of the IFL. Is there a game you're particularly interested in that's not your own team? And then, of course, is there another game out there that you're especially interested in, NAL or AFL or even otherwise? We have Game 6 of the NBA Finals tonight in Oakland at the Oracle. And, of course, if the Warriors win, they live to fight another day. It will go to a 7-game series. But if Toronto wins, it's done. Raptors are your champions. Last night, we crowned new champions of the hockey world. Congratulations to the St. Louis Blues. And then Saturday, also, the Spokane Wolfpack will travel to Tri-Cities to take on the Rage. And that should be a good matchup as well. And I have Brian Spiller coming up as we discuss that matchup and a lot more concerning the regular season for the Spokane Wolfpack. But yes, your guys' thoughts. Kickoff for that game is 7 o'clock if you're in the area, which hopefully you guys can go and check it out. Oh, Antonio, he's so funny. All right, guys, so let's see here if we have any more comments regards to the upcoming game. Now everybody's quiet. I'm asking for your guys' opinion, and now everybody's quiet. You guys are watching, but you're all quiet now. Did I say something to upset you? Like, did I not give your team enough of a big, and coming up this Saturday, we've got this team. I could do that if that makes you feel better. But, all right, comments got quiet, so I guess we will go to our interview for the evening. So for those of you watching, I appreciate you participating in the opening of the show as we do here on Facebook Live, and we will be back next week with all new episodes, all new special guests, including the return of a fan favorite. There's a teaser for you. Oh, and one last thing that I forgot to mention, even though we had our robotics special last night, they did finally post the fight card for Battlebots episode 2 this weekend, and it's a good one. We have in the first match is Juan Hu versus Captain Shredderator. And then we have Axe Backwards. My boys, Axe Backwards, they're taking on the new kids on the block known as Mammoth. And then we have Shatter versus Witch Doctor. Duck versus Bombshell in a highly anticipated rematch from last year's Bot Rumble that left a lot of people very upset. We have Texas Twister versus Black Dragon. Son of Waiachi versus Huge. And finally, your main event for episode 2 will be Minotaur versus Whiplash. And that is, again, tomorrow night on Discovery Channel. There is a bonus fight that will be on the Science Channel edition of that episode after the weekend. So make sure that you guys have downloaded the Discovery app, that you're subscribed, all that good stuff. But that will do it for this edition of the Fan Show here. And you guys can enjoy my conversation with Mr. Brian Spiller. Wait, let's see here. Oh, apparently Adam was cooking. Antonio says the Tucson game is of interest to him because with all the Barnstormers down there, yes, obviously there is a lot of former Iowa players, including a coach down in Tucson. So I guess what Antonio is trying to say is that he's a Tucson fan right now, which is crazy. I feel like he's turning his back on his Midwestern brethren because he geographically should be team Steam Wheelers this weekend. But it's okay, Tony. It's okay. To each their own. We don't judge you, Tonio. We don't. We don't at all. But I do want to thank you guys once again for joining me. Don't forget to subscribe if you missed any of this opening portion of the show. You can also listen iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and iHeartRadio, and of course Spreaker.com, which is where I would direct you to right now, the link, wherever it is located for you on your mobile device or laptop, perhaps. And we are going to get this thing rolling. And Antonio says, no. It's okay. It's okay, Antonio. We understand. So thank you guys. Enjoy my conversation with another member of the Spokane Wolfpack, Brian Spiller. All right, ladies and gentlemen, joining me now was our outstanding defensive player of the week for the Spokane Wolfpack just about, 3 weeks ago, because there was some time off that they had, but now they're back. They're in the win column again, and they will travel to the Tri-Cities this weekend to take on the Rage. He is Brian Spiller. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, Richard. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man, it's always fun to talk to our players of the game. And for you had in that one 3 interceptions, I'm sure a handful of tackles, but it was a very defensively dominant performance, as was this most recent game, and that was against Portland. So it would appear that where the defense was lacking early on in the season when you had some really close games, that now you guys are starting to click. And as one of the veterans on the team and as one of the guys out there making the plays, what do you notice that's different? Like from week 1 to what are we, week 6 going into?
Yeah, exactly. Honestly, I think it has to do a lot with the defensive group starting to gel. The team has got a handful of guys that are not local in Spokane, some coming out of Wenatchee and Tri-Cities and other parts of the state. So now that we're a few games into the season, just about the halfway mark, I feel like the defensive personnel is really starting to gel, and we're starting to really grab on to the defensive scheme that Coach Woods has for us, and just starting to execute a little bit better as a group.
Which is interesting you say that it took a certain matter of gelling together to get it to work, because everybody that I've talked to, and maybe you can attest to this or not, especially at this level, semi-pro football, is that they say that the defense has an advantage early because it's the offense that has to learn a playbook and make the plays. The defense is just trying to stop the plays. So what do you think? Does defense have an advantage, or is it something that's either, I don't know, maybe specific to teams, leagues, or I guess it's just whoever it is you're talking to?
Well, I definitely think defense has the advantage because regardless of what system you play in or which coach you have, most of the defensive assignments are pretty similar from scheme to scheme. They just use different terminology. So, if you know your responsibility and you know how to execute it, I think you can definitely pick up on it a little bit quicker. But, football is a team sport, you got 11 guys on defense that all need to be in sequence in the right place at the right time, executing their responsibilities. Coach Woods is new to the Wolfpack. It's his first year, or our first year running his scheme. And there's quite a few of our defensive players who were not on Spokane's roster last year that are just working on gelling together and getting that scheme down and executing on our responsibilities.
Well, that's good to hear then, and I'm glad that you guys are starting to gel well together, because there was, was a few games, like I said, very close, and then, of course, the first time that you guys played Tri-City, that was the first time that we had really seen a dominant defensive performance, and then against the Storm, when they came to town to play in Roosevelt, another that one very, very dominant performance by the defense, and then you guys only allowed 6 to Portland this last weekend at the Pine Bowl. So now you guys go on the road, and I talked to Peter about this, and he had some interesting thoughts on it. And you as a vet, I wanted to get yours as well. Now, of course, for those that don't know, listening at home, Tri-Cities, or the Tri-Cities, I guess, is about a 2-hour drive from the Spokane area. Now, you live there, but you have traveled before, either back or forth, and you travel, obviously, to Spokane for the home games. So I guess for you, what's your trick to not getting, I guess, is it road weary? Is that the right terminology I'm looking for, where the trip doesn't affect your play?
To be real honest with you, I try to make the trip on Fridays and not on Saturdays.
Good strategy there.
Fortunately for me, my parents live in Spokane, so I got a place to stay the night before the game, and that has. I've noticed a difference throughout my years of playing. When you have a long road trip and you get off the bus or get out of the vehicle and head right into the stadium. It's tough on your body. It's always good to have a good night's rest in the town you're playing in my opinion.
Yeah, because you were the guy, my first year covering the Wolfpack, you and I sat down, had a conversation, and I said, this is a different kind of football because you guys are outdoors and you guys are playing in the months that it only gets hotter. And I said, how do you handle that? And you said pickle juice. Like you had there was no delay. You just said pickle juice. And of course that's a thing, as I would come to discover, is a lot of people say, yeah, if you get dehydrated and you need your electrolytes real quick, pickle juice. So I didn't know if you had like a pickle juice for traveling, because I've made that drive from here to Seattle before, and of course it was to attend an event, not participate in one. But I couldn't imagine for you guys that you do a lot of stretching, you do weightlifting or whatever, and you have practice, that you're cooped up in a car or a van or maybe a bus if you're lucky for 5, 6, 7 hours, depending where you're going. You're going to get a little stir crazy and a little cramp. So I didn't know if you had a tip for the young rookies out there on how to make those trips a little less excruciating.
Yeah, the only thing I've been doing as of recent is just trying to find a way to make the trip the day before. That's pretty much what I've been doing for this season.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I guess we'll see if there's any other tips or tricks for traveling. But this weekend in Tri-Cities against the Rage, which is a familiar foe to you guys, obviously this win last week against Portland, I believe, put you guys into first place. And so now the target is on your back. And Tri-City, they're kind of a different team every time you play them. I guess you could say that about every team, because, a lot of the guys, can they make that trip to the away game? Maybe. But for you, what is it that's the most difficult about playing a team, multiple times throughout the season, especially when they're so close to where you guys play?
The difficult part about playing a team multiple times in one season, is that your question, Richard?
Yeah.
I think the only challenge once you face teams multiple times is they have more exposure to picking up what you do offensively and defensively, and they have more time to adjust and attack what you like to do on each side of the ball. I think that's the biggest disadvantage when you play teams repetitive times throughout the season, but that circumstance works both ways. It also gives us an advantage, where we know what they're trying to do because we've seen them multiple times in person and on film.
So Demetrius and Dennis, the new owners of the Spokane Wolfpack, and Demetrius has even suited up on a few occasions, including this last game at home against Portland. You have been with this league and with this team for a while, and you've seen the ups and the downs. I believe this is an up and a new chapter, a new attitude for the Wolfpack. What was your first impression of Demetrius and Dennis, and was there anything in particular that stood out to you when you talked to them that sold you on coming back for another season with the Wolfpack?
Well, Demetrius and I go back quite a bit because we've played together in years past.
Gotcha.
So I'm very familiar with Demetrius. Dennis I just met this year. And upon my first meeting with them and them bringing me back to Spokane, I definitely really enjoyed the good positive energy that each one of them brings to the organization. I feel like they're very excited about football. They're really good with the players, and they work their tails off. They work their tails off to make sure that our organization is prepared and has all the things taken care of that need to be taken care of to run a football team so that the players can focus on football. And having Dennis and Demetrius this year, I put all of my attention to strictly playing football. I don't have to worry about travel or uniforms or stadiums or anything like that. I just focus on playing football, and they take care of the stuff that, a good owner would take care of.
Which is great to hear, and yeah, the impression that I got when I met with Demetrius was that he was taking this serious, so serious that he is suited up, like we said a few moments ago, and he was out there on the field. Like, it wasn't just he was suited up to be a placeholder so that you guys had enough. But what was it like? I mean, you've played with him before, but what's it like playing with player Demetrius versus owner Demetrius?
I feel like Demetrius has way more emotionally invested in this team being an owner, and the energy that he brings on the sideline when he's got his gear on is quite a bit more intense than what I recall in the past. And I could be wrong, but that stood out. He's very passionate about the team. Dennis is very passionate about the team, and they made it clear from day one. We're trying to win a championship. We're not here just to play football and have a good time. We're trying to win every single football game that we enter, and we're trying to bring a championship to Spokane, and they're very committed in that.
Which is great to hear, because that's what you want in your owner, is be committed to the greater good. And what's funny is that, you guys will play the Rage in Tri-Cities this weekend, which I hope that I can make it, but it's odd because the last time that I went and saw you guys play in Tri-Cities, there was a lot of stuff happening on the sidelines as far as with previous ownership and just, there was some questionable things, but, you hate to have your season end on a note like that. And there was a lot of you guys that I didn't want that to be the end for you, because you had a bad experience, especially at the end of the season. So I'm really glad that you guys are in, obviously, good hands, and that with those hands comes a certain level of commitment, that your guys' best interests are at hand and you guys are going to be taken care of. So I'm really glad to hear you, as a veteran, speak on that note. What is this season mean for you? How many more do you think you've got left in the tank?
Well, I mean, I've been, talking about hanging it up for quite a few years now. And this is my 12th season playing semi-professional football. And, I feel like I'm having one of my better seasons that I've had. I've had some injury issues over the last couple seasons, and so far I've held up pretty good this year, and I'm just excited to play the game healthy, play at a high pace, and do everything I can to contribute to our team winning ball games.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that you're going to be the new Scott Word of the team out there in your 50s, but do you see yourself on the sidelines as a coach in the future? Is that any aspiration you have?
Possibly, yeah. I've definitely, I've always wanted to give my knowledge back to the game, and give that knowledge back to younger players as well. And I have a pretty high interest at hopefully getting an opportunity to coach at a high school level in the future.
Well, that's good, man, and I am very excited for you guys, and I know that it was a slow start to the season, kind of a back and forth, but you guys are, obviously finding your rhythm and stride now, and you've been a big contributing factor to that success, both your ability to play on the field and your veteran leadership. So it's always a pleasure to see you out on the field, and regardless of what your role is, man, I hope that you stick with it, because you are an asset to the team and the community, and I think the guys know that, and so I hope that you do as well.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that, and thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. He is Brian Pickle Juice Spiller of the Spokane Wolfpack, and they will play the Tri-Cities Rage this Saturday at, what is the field? I had it
Should
right
be
in front of me.
Lampton. Should be Lamson.
Yes, Neil F. Lamson Field, and that is in Kennewick, Washington, down in the Tri-City area. That kickoff is at 7 p.m. Tickets are $15 at the gate. So, Brian, you have a great rest of your day. Obviously, you already live down there, so I don't have to say safe travels, but rest up and have a hell of a game out there on Saturday.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Take care.
You too. Have a good one as well.
And one more big thank you to Brian Spiller of the Spokane Wolfpack, and good luck to the boys as they go on the road to take on the Tri-Cities Rage. So one more time, that game will be contested at Neil F. Lamson Stadium in Kennewick, Washington. So if you are in the area, I urge you to go and check out this game. Kickoff is 7 p.m. Pacific time. Tickets are $15 at the gate, and it should be a good one. There is a steady rivalry here between these two squads, and it was a pleasure to have Brian back on the show. Last time we talked and interviewed, it was, again, a lot of fun, very informative. So with that, we are going to wrap up this Thursday edition of the Fan Show as we get to the 46-minute mark. I thank you all for joining me at the beginning of the episode on Facebook Live. Always a lot of fun to talk to you guys. Again, congratulations to the St. Louis Blues. Good luck to both the Warriors and the Raptors tonight, NBA Finals Game 6, and we will talk about who comes out victorious from this year's NBA Finals, whether it be Game 6 or 7, Tuesday with an all-new episode. And don't forget, if you can't listen live, make sure that you subscribe. iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and of course, we are broadcasting to you live from Spreaker.com. And if you're on Facebook, give us a like so that you can participate in the opening segment of the show every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday live at 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific. And it is a simulcast of sorts. So what you are seeing and hearing on the Facebook Live, you are at least hearing on the Spreaker broadcast and then eventual podcast. So never miss out on anything. Give us a follow on Twitter at FanShowOfficial. Give us a follow on Instagram, The Fan Show. All the content is on there, and links to everything are available as well. We have a YouTube channel, so Google The Fan Show, and links are available to that through Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, best of luck to you and yours. Go Niners, and remember, of course, it's all fun and games until you butt fumble. Good night, folks.
Do you remember the time that Mark Sanchez ran into his own player's butt? That was funny sports.
Thank you for having me on the show, man. I love the Fan Show.